My name's Adelle Onyango, and welcome to another episode of Legally Clueless. No, seriously, I have no clue what I'm doing, but I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one. Hey you, how's about I tell you some great news? Group therapy is officially back. I'm super excited because all year our theme is healing childhood trauma. So throughout this year, we're going to be weaving through topics under this theme in every session. Okay, so on the 29th of June, the topic we're going to be weaving through at group therapy is mother wounds. This is a heavy one. In case you don't know, our group therapy sessions are led by our resident counseling psychologist, and she's accredited, so she's legit. Her name is Faith. When it comes to mother wounds, a lot of people are struggling with this one. And sometimes mother wounds are what happens when there's a lack of mothering, a lack of your emotional needs being met by a mom, and it can be passed down across generations, which is so scary to think about, right? When you are suffering or navigating a mother wound, it can really affect your relationships, like how you parent if you have kids. It can affect your intimate relationships and even how you see and relate with yourself. Mother wounds obviously are very uncomfortable and they come with various feelings, right? So if you have a mother wound, it may have you feeling like your mom just wasn't there for you on an emotional level. It can have you feeling like you are reluctant to turn to your mom for comfort or security. It can have you doubting if you had your mother's approval. So maybe you feel like you were always trying to be perfect in her eyes. It can have you feeling nervous and frightened around your mom. It can also manifest in you feeling like, or maybe this really is the reality, not just your feeling, that you're expected to take care of your mom physically or emotionally. And sometimes you doubt if you're doing that well. And mother wounds can lead to you having low self-esteem. You can have a lack of emotional awareness. You can have an inability to self-soothe. You can remember when I said it can affect your intimate relationships, you can kind of walk around thinking that warm and nurturing relationships just aren't for you. You know what I mean? They just aren't in your reach, which is false. And so when we talk about like this year wanting to heal our childhood trauma, what we want to help you do is just like live a more free life. A lot of the things or issues we navigate stem from things we experienced in childhood that are still with us. So if you are navigating a mother wound, we've recorded quite a few stories around it. It's going to be the topic in our upcoming group therapy, and you are definitely invited. It's on the 29th of June, so we're just about, 2 weeks out? Right here in Nairobi at Kanga Studio. Tickets are 2,000 bob. They're available on Hustle Sasa, or if you check the show notes, there's a link to the ticketing page. And we don't sell any tickets at the door because like on D-Day, we're just focused on our healing, right? So you have to get your tickets in advance. Just a bit of a heads up, it is group therapy, which means it's not a concert. So we want it to be very intimate, so we have very limited tickets. So grab yours quick fast. I'm definitely going to be there on the 29th of June, and it would be nice not only to join you on this healing journey, but also to just like meet you and get to hang out. So make sure you grab your tickets. We're going to be focusing on healing our mother wounds. 100 African stories on Legally Clueless. Stories from Africa.
My name is OliviaMy Sandra. I was born in Nairobi, 1999 on 28th of April. Born and raised in Nairobi. I think for the better part of my life, I've stayed in Nairobi. I was born by a beautiful lady called Jacqueline Ayeko Owaga. I have two sisters, different dads, like all of us from different dads. I don't know much about my dad. I was told like he died. I never got to see him. Though some time back, I was interacting with a certain lady who seemed to be like the sister on Facebook. This is a secret, no one knows. But yeah, I got to interact with her. We've met a number of times for coffee in town. So that is when I got to learn about my dad. The thing, I love writing. I'm into writing. I'm even working on my book. Oh, wow. I'm so proud of myself. When I shared with her, she was like, even your dad used to write. I wish you could go get to read his books, but I never got that chance. Plus, again, I cannot raise it to my family. That's my mom's side. That hey, I interacted with someone who's dad's sister, because they'll be like, where did you meet? Why did you hide this? Plus, also for protection, you never know, security purposes. I can't, but yeah, basically that. I was raised by a single mom. My upbringing, I started, I was raised in a place called, what is it called? Saba, I think that's in Kayole. Yeah, for the better part. Then after some time, that is when we moved, again, almost coming to these sides of Umoja, but it was still in Kayole. We stayed there for a while until the very moment that my mom left to go to Kisumu now. So yeah, for that better part of my life, I was raised in Kayole. I went to a school called the Wabu Primary that is in Kayole still. I think up to class 8. But before that, there was a time I was staying with my mom's twin sister in Umoja. So kindergarten, I went to a school called Mugumo. It was just from the house. So I'm a very shy in person. Plus, I never used to be a people's person. I think growing up, that is when I've been able to make friends. Back then, it was really a struggle. So I'd sneak from school during break time when you're told, go pick your porridge. Those 2 bottles we used to carry. When you're told, go pick your bottle, take your porridge or tea, whatever you carried. Me, I'd use that opportunity as a way of going home because our house was literally outside the gate. So I used to go back. When I'm asked, why are you here? I'd say, teacher amesema tukuje home. So it used to happen like that until now we had a neighbor who took a child to the same school. So that is when he started raising question, mbona wewe peke yako ndio uko nyumbani na wengine hawajakuja? Why are you the only one who's home, yet the other students haven't come home, they're still in school? That is when I'd lie that then they've decided to play, and my mom would be like, it's okay, because she knew I wasn't the kind to play with people. I never used to have friends, so she didn't take it as a big deal. But it got to a point it raised questions and she wanted to follow up with the teachers. So the teachers are like, we never see her after break, we never see her after lunch. Hey, my mother, I was beaten. Anyway, it was war. Yeah, but after that, we went back to Kayole for a while. My mom was working with, it's called Darling Kenya. It's a breeding something company. Yeah, so that time we sort of had a house help, but we had a woman staying with us, was taking care of us when mom wasn't there. So I remember this very day we were coming from school with my little sister, but then we were still 2. My little sister is called Vera Dorothy. We were coming from school, then a certain neighbor stopped us. You see these neighbors who usually just sit, they're idle, they don't have anything to do. I think I can refer to them as housewives or something. So once they're done with their daily chores, they just go outside, talk about people and all that. So when we were coming back from school, one of them stopped us and they're like, why don't we see a man in your house? We only see you people, the 2 of you and your mom. So it had never kicked in, or we've never felt affected, why don't you have a father in our family, until this very day. So my little sister is a bit inquisitive. She was like, Mom, when my mom came back, we told her about that. So my sister was like, Mom, this neighbor is asking us why we don't have a dad. And we've never asked you, where is our father? So you see, for my little sister, it was a bit easier because for her, the dad exists. The dad is there. Not present, but the dad is there. So Mom was like, but your father is there. I grew up being very scared. I never used to ask questions about things I didn't understand, because again, I was brought up by a very tough woman. My mom was tough, so I was scared of, she works so hard, she provides everything. I was scared of if I ask these questions, she's going to feel there's something that's really amiss. So as much as my sister was inquiring about the father and everything, I never used to ask. I wasn't even bothered. So I think my mom also decided, because she's not asking, I'll not talk about it. Let's just let it slide. we asked my mom, okay, that day my sister asked about the dad, why neighbors are even asking about it. So my mom was like, I'll handle this. Then the neighbors kept on asking, not once, not twice or thrice. Like it was something that kept on reoccurring. Until this very day, my mom got fed up and decided to go to the neighbor's house. So she timed, you see that time when like in the evening when now that the husbands are coming back home, my mom waited until the neighbor who kept on asking us this question until the husband came home. So that is when my mom carried the both of us and we went to the neighbor's house and my mom knocked the door. So when the neighbor opened, Auntie, hey, Mama Olivia, how are you? Like, what has brought you here? So my mom told the neighbor, now the woman, you've been bothering my children asking them where is their father. And because like you're now making them feel like there's something that's amiss in their life, I'm here to pick your husband to go and stay in my house so that you can be seeing a man coming to my house, because your problem is you don't see any man coming to the house. And now you're like making my children very uncomfortable. So they started quarreling. The neighbors like, it's not a big deal. I was just asking. So my mom was like, if you have questions, these are little children. If you have any question in regards to my family, you can wait for me and ask me. Plus you ask them, like the first times you kept on asking them, I told you to stop, but you never took me seriously. Now that you're making it look like it's a must-have in their lives, I'm here to pick your husband. Tell him to pack. We are going with him. He's going to stay in my house. Then from there, he'll decide he'll be coming to this house or mine. So they argued for a while until then, at some point, my mom told her, you should be minding your business and not other people's business, and don't frustrate other people's children to make them feel like there's something that's really amiss. From there, as you were okay, because we never lacked anything. As much as life would get hard here and there, we never lacked anything. Plus, I have very supportive relatives. That's something that I can be able to say. I have very supportive relatives. Whenever mom wasn't able to provide something, I was sure that they are going to come through for us. So yeah, so our upbringing kinda was okay. It was just a smooth road. Plus mom used to work hard. Apart from where she was working, darling, she used to do some side hustles here and there. So we were sure that whenever you want anything, you'll be able to get. And now fast forward to school, where the dad thing came up again. There was this time now when they introduced Parents' Day, some sort of where parents come, they invited for educational day. It happened for several months, but most of our fellow students and teachers only used to see our mother was the one who was coming. We never used to have a dad. So now you see the way kids will laugh at you. Kids will start telling you, oh, you don't have a dad. My dad is coming. My dad will bring me snacks. As much as at times you might act strong, but then you also compare yourself with them and you're way better. When someone mocks you in such a way, there's a way it hurts. So I think that is when I finally gained the courage and I approached my mom and was like, hey mom, you've always talked about Vera's dad, but you've never told me anything about my father. Where's my dad? Is he alive? What really happened? I'm not asking to be taken to where he is, but I just would wish to know more about him. So my mom brushed it off. The second time I brought it up, my mom was like, but I work hard, I give you everything. Is there anything that you lack? So I felt like it's becoming an argument. So it's just peace out. I'm never bringing this up again. So yeah, that happened. We went on with our lives until I think when I was in class, is it 6, 7? I think class 6. Yeah, that is when you were taken. My sister and I were taken to now my mom's twin sister in Umoja. She's called Gertrude. So we were taken to my mom's twin sister in Umoja. Then my mom said she was traveling for a burial. So we're okay, cool. So as you used to leave Umo for school to Kayole on a daily basis using matatus, we stayed there. It's now a week. My mom hasn't come back, but she was calling to check up on us. Then 2 weeks, Then before we noticed, it was a month. So it started raising questions. This burial that you went for, when is it likely to end? Are you not coming back? Like, do you need help? Are you stuck? You don't have transport. Like, it was raising those questions. But we kept on talking to my mom. Little didn't we know that my mom had met some other man. I don't know from where. We didn't even get to know about that story. She was kind of getting remarried, something of the sort. But she kept on hiding it from everyone. She was just like, there's something I'm working on here. Like, there's a job I found I'm working on here. And now you know, you couldn't doubt her because she used to send money. She'd keep on calling to make sure that you're okay, we're not lacking anything. Like, she'd support where she could. So she stayed there for like a very long time, then decided to come back. When she came back, she was like, hey, we are relocating. So her sister was like, what do you mean they're relocating? These kids are in school. You like relocating with them means you have to find them another school. Before you take them away from here, I wish you'd have like found a school first, make sure that it's okay, so that by the time they're leaving here to whichever place you're relocating to, at least they'll not go and stay there, but they'll go and continue with their schooling. So it brought an argument. My mom was like, you'll not teach me how to raise my children and all that. I think she was just bitter. We couldn't really tell bitter with what exactly, but she wasn't like the woman you are used to. She had just become something else. So she packed everything. And mind you, our house in Kayole was still there. So she went, picked most of the stuffs, gave out what she felt we didn't need. Whatever we needed was packed for us to travel with. So we stayed at my aunt's place for almost a week or so when my mom and the sister weren't like really talking, because my aunt felt like this wasn't the right thing. But again, my mom was that person. Once she says something, that is it. Once she's made up her mind, you cannot convince her otherwise. Maybe later on, but not like immediately. It will take time. So my mom decided we were relocating. So we relocated to somewhere called Ugenya. That's in the sides of Nyanza. That was the very first time when we went there. That was the very first time we got to meet the man that now my mom was remarrying. So we stayed there. My mom kept on saying, like telling my relatives back in Nairobi that she's looking for a school, she'll be able to find a school for us to go to. So we stayed. It was now almost a month. And mind you, I'm supposed to be a candidate because I was to sit for my exams in 2013. And I think this was around 2012 when we relocated. So I'm there. It's almost a month we've not gone to school. I used to have a phone that mom, was it mom or my aunt had bought me? So we used to converse with some of my relatives and we'd tell them that, hey, we're not in school. We are outside. Mom is still trying to figure this all out. So her sister was like, why did you take the children if you didn't have a plan? Like, they're really missing out on quite a lot. And remember, the school you were in, the Abu, we had already cleared from the school because it was like we are transferring to another school. So you've cleared and all that. So we stayed for a month. We've not gone to school. It's now almost 2 months. That is when my mom's twin sister got fed up and she came where we were with some of like our uncles, and she picked us and she came back with us to Nairobi. So she went back to the school where we were in, where we had said we were transferring. She went there, spoke to the principal. It's like this and this, it's a bit hard. Can you just reaccommodate them back? So you can imagine how you are being like, students are laughing at us because when you're going back after you've told people, hey, me, I'm going to a new school, I'll not suffer in this school anymore, I'll be wearing like a good uniform, and all that. So then you're coming back. It was like, I don't know, it was the most difficult time for the both of us. I feel like my sister adjusted after a short period because she's flexible, unlike me. So we were there, went back to school. By this time, we already had like our third born because we were 3 girls. My mother gave birth to 3 girls. I skipped that part. I think she was born in somewhere. Was it 2009 or 2010? So when mom went for the burial, she was even with her like somewhere there. I can't remember which year, but somewhere there. So when we came back to Nairobi, that is me and my sister, the one who comes after me. She was like our last born was left with mom. So we stayed. I did my KCP. Like the journey was just okay. My aunt kept on providing, ensured that we never lacked anything, together with the help of some of our relatives. So I did my KCP. I passed. I did my best. I passed. So that time, mom started now like bringing the issue up again that she'd like us to go. She's already found a school. But now my sister was, I think, in class 6 because, she's 2 years behind me. She was in class 6. So my aunt decided I'll be the one to go. Then my sister remains here. Because at least back then, you remember, like after you've done class 8, you'd stay, I think, January and February, then probably start joining high school towards the end of February or March, somewhere there. So they felt like there was still enough time for mom to like find a school for me. But for my sister, they're like, no, that one they cannot compromise. She has to stay in Nairobi to stay in school. For the very first time, I felt very uncomfortable, and that's when I cried. I remember I was crying when we were traveling, because we traveled together. Even my sister, the one who my family felt like should remain, we went together for the December holidays. They felt like, no, you go spend the holidays with mom, but come January, your sister will come back to Nairobi because of school as you stay back. So as we traveled, it's like you're watching your life, just everything just fall down, like from you're back to zero. I felt like my entire life, this is where I felt like I belonged. And again, we were scared of going back because the very first time we went, that time when we stayed almost 2 months out of school, when we went there, we didn't like the man that my mom was getting married to, because yes, at times you crave to have like a manly figure in your life. He was a man, but he wasn't a manly figure. Reasons as to why I'm saying that. I was a kid, but I can still remember. That's another good thing about children, like they never forget. We saw the way that man used to treat like our mom, and we weren't happy. And okay, most people who know me so well usually think like I'm tough like my mom, because I'm just that one person. If you step on me, I'll not keep quiet. I'll tell you, hey, you've stepped on me. Hey, you've talked to me in a rude way. I didn't like it. This very day, I can't remember what had really happened. This man came back. I think he was drunk or something, and he was shouting at my mom. At some point, he even pushed her. So then that is when like I gained the courage and I was like, hey, why are you pushing my mom like that? Like, what's wrong? If she's even like wronged in any way, I feel like there's a better way to solve the issue. But this man never cared whether we were present or not. He'd come, shout at my mom. Yeah, like there are times he tried getting physical, but whenever my mom sensed he was going to get physical, she'd just find a way to stop it. So we were uncomfortable because we weren't really sure that this is the kind of person we'd like to spend the rest of our lives with as a dad. Plus us, we were okay. Like we had been raised for so many years without a dad. We were just okay. So that time when they said like we were going for holiday to spend the November-December holiday with mom, we weren't sure that is what we really wanted to do. And we were crying the entire time, even when we were being taken to like board the bus to travel there. We're like, no, we don't want to do this. Please don't make us do this. But now you see, it wasn't within my aunt's control. There's nothing she could do, because my mom felt like, you guys are also taking my children away from me, which is not right. So to avoid those issues, my relatives decided we go. So we went, but now we didn't go to Kenya, where like it's the, how do I call the shago for that man. We went somewhere around Kisumu. It was called Otonglo or something. It's just around Kisumu airport there. That is where like now Kina mom had moved. It's like your townhouse now. So they had moved there. We went to stay with them there. So that period we stayed, it was the longest, but it wasn't also the longest, because most of the time mom would take us out. We'd go visit our relatives who are in Kisumu. So we weren't like spending much time with this man until now. Got to January when now my sister had to leave. Someone like I've grown with, someone who's like a friend, a confidant, like whenever things weren't right, we'd sit down together, talk about it. At least you'd feel like the weight on your shoulder has been lifted, sort of. So now it was time for her to come back to Nairobi. And I remember like a day or two before she traveled, like I was crying on call, talking to my aunt, and I was like, don't leave me here, please. Take me with you, like let me come back with her. But my aunt was like, no, you can't come back. Mom said she's going to find your school there. Let's wait and see. So my sister came back. Life wasn't the same. It was hard. The days when we were there in Kisumu, we'd sleep hungry, something that never used to happen. We'd sleep hungry, and I remember my phone got spoiled. The one that I had, it got spoiled. And when Mom wanted to take it for repair, the man was like, no, this is a kid. Why should she even have a phone? Because I think now she was kind of... He noticed that I was communicating with my relatives about whatever was happening, and he wanted to like find an end to that. So yeah, it was a win for him that period. So he refused for my phone to get repaired. Now there wasn't any way I could communicate to my relatives or even reach out to my sister. The only time I could talk to my aunts and my cousin, now the daughter to my aunt, who's like a sister to us, is when they call Mom's phone. That's the only time I could get to talk. So we stayed January. There are days like we'd skip meal, as I've said. Whenever like Mom would bring up that issue, it would be like a war in that house. Like it would just be crazy. Mom started doing some sort of business there, but it got to a point where the man was like, no, I'm the provider, you shouldn't be doing this. In short, it's like he was just trying to stop Mom from whichever means of her getting money. She just wanted her to be there, to fully depend on him. That way, like he can have full control of our lives and everything else. So we stayed there. That was January. Then February, that is when my aunt started getting serious about me going to school, because now students were starting to report to school. Calling letters were out. People were reaching out to the schools you've been called to. So my aunt was like, have you reached out to this school? Or, okay, if you wanted to study somewhere in Kisumu, have you tried checking out different schools? In real sense, we had gone to several schools with my mom. I remember we had even bought the metal box that people used to go to high school. We went somewhere in Kisumu. By then, Mom had money. She bought me that box. She even bought me like a pair of shoes, the leather shoes. So like she had started buying stuff for school. But now in February, that is when my mom started getting sick. So I remember at some point we were taken to my aunt's place, my aunt who stays in Kisumu. It's a relative married to like one of our relatives, so we just refer to her as auntie. So my little sister, like now our last born, she's called Jillian, and I were taken there. We were told, stay here for a while as Mom goes through the whole hospital thing. So we didn't stay for long. I think we stayed for a week or so. And when we came back, Mom was on medication. So I asked Mom, like, what's wrong? Mom was, I have malaria, and like she used to complain of headaches and all that. So whenever someone would ask me, I'd just say, my mom has malaria, because that is what I was told. We were hoping things would get better, but things never got better. There's this day, I think, I don't know if she fainted or what really happened, because I was stopped by our neighbors where we were staying from entering the house, because they were the ones who entered to help Mom. Then she was taken to hospital, then she came back in the evening. And mind you, this is someone who's come back from hospital. The man is still like, I want you to cook for me. I knew how to cook, so I was like, I'll cook. Then the guy was like, no, I want your mother to cook. I tried explaining, like, I tried making him understand that my mom is sick. She's not in a position to prepare your food, but I can cook. I cooked. He refused to eat. He left. And I think he went and ate somewhere. Then he came. Then from there, it was chaos every day, quarreling here and there, like on a daily basis. Until now, it got to a point on this very day, like when some of my relatives came and took my mom to hospital. It was early in the morning, yeah. Then they brought her back. But still, she didn't stay home for like more than 3 days. She got worse. So that day when she got worse, this show that I never knew about, there's so many grandmas that you hear you have and you only get to meet them like at the most weirdest moments, came where we were staying, and she was like, I'm going to take you, you'll stay with me. Still those sides of Kisumu. You'll stay with me, I'll find a school for you where you'll be going. So mind you, it's almost March. I've not yet reported to school. I'm not anywhere close to reporting to school. Then here is a stranger who now I'm being told is your grandma, who came to pick me up to go and stay with her. I find it a bit hard, like I take time to adjust more so to strangers, and I'm never comfortable like visiting people I've never spent time with because I'm not sure like how they're going to treat me. So all that fear started kicking in. I was like, no, now like this is a whole new life. I don't know where I'm even going to live. But anyway, I had no option. So I was told to pack my stuffs. Before I even finished, the car was there. Whatever I hadn't packed was just thrown at the boot, like at the back of the car. And I was told, hey, you're going. And I remember before I went, because my mom was there, she was lying in bed and she stood and hugged me. She was like, everything is going to be okay. You know, like I've always worked hard to make sure that you have everything that you need. So everything is going to be okay. And she hugged me and she's like, you're the strongest woman. Like you've taken after me. And I believe, oh God. Yeah, like she was like, I believe you'll survive. We'll figure it out with no time. So those were the last words I ever heard from my mom, if I'm not wrong.
That's it for this episode of Legally Clueless. You can share this podcast with your friends. You can keep it for yourself. I'm not judging. Just make sure you're here next week for the next episode.